All right, I'll call the meeting to order. We have several sets of minutes to go through. Let's start with January 10th. Do you have any?
Yes, I have, yes. Line 252. Can we cross out is okay and put this amendment to the tap fees will do for now?
Wait, one more time. Pam feels that since,
Pam feels that since there
Any
aren't
water
any
meter.
water meters,
Yeah.
this amendment to the tap fees will do for now. Will suffice for now, whatever. But it's not really a solution to the water meters, but. And that was all I had. Nicely done.
What are you changing?
In line 252.
Yeah.
It says, Pam feels that since there aren't any water meters, this is okay.
Yeah.
We're changing it. There aren't any water meters. This amendment to the tap fees will suffice for now.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 10th meeting minutes as amended.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. To January 19th,
I had nothing.
and that was the joint meeting with Woodstock Selectmen.
Mhm.
Did you have anything?
No, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 19th meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And did these get sent to
Already,
Woodstock?
yeah.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
All right, and then we'll do the February 3rd.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 3rd meeting minutes as presented.
I didn't have any changes. I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
and non-public.
You have the February 3rd one,
Here's your February 3rd.
signature. And then the February 7th, did you change?
What did you do the non-publics?
Not yet.
Oh,
I will make a motion to approve the February 3rd non-public meeting minutes as presented.
Second that motion.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
all those in favor?
Aye. And then the regular meeting minutes of February 7th, we changed Jim Ludwig to Jack Daly on the top. It's a template and it just kicked it back up.
I
Don't know
even
why,
know.
but that's all I had. So I'll make a motion to approve the February 7th meeting minutes.
Wait, mine say Jack Daly.
The February
Well, thank you, because I corrected it, switched it
Oh,
out.
she
like
switched it
2
out.
hours ago.
Okay,
What
okay.
did I say?
We have no idea how.
The
Yeah,
original
no,
one
they
said
kicked it back.
Jane Ludwig instead of Jack Daly.
Oh, okay.
But
The
it's your name's
template,
there.
yeah,
Was
the
in drag.
template kicked it back. So that was a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Marathon minutes, that's awesome. Thank you, Jane.
Jane, thank you.
Thank you.
And that was it, right? No more
That's
notes?
it.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is a discussion regarding the deed restriction warrant article.
Yes, so the original warrant article that we drafted a couple weeks ago and you got an initial draft of. Thankfully, Terra Tower was looking at it and realized that the map and lot number was incorrect. So then that kind of led us down the rabbit hole to the realization that the Kank rec area, including the 2 parcels that are across the street, are one lot. With this knowledge, I guess I'm coming to the board, just making sure that you want to continue with the deed restriction because it will encompass the whole 28.8 acres or 28 acre parcel versus just that smaller parcel across the street, or if we want to amend the article to include surveying in subdivision, or I guess what the board wants to do.
I just learned about this now, so I've really well thought it through.
Mhm.
My initial reaction is to change the warrant article to see if the town will vote to place a deed restriction on
A portion
a
of,
portion of the town-owned 2.4 acre land-owned parcel.
No, read the next one. Read the next word.
this one here,
underneath it.
take that one, take this one.
Oh, sorry, I have it right here. I just have it. Place a deed restriction on the Kank Rec area parcel located on Forest Ridge Road.
So a portion
A
of.
A
portion
portion
of.
of,
Okay.
on, a portion of,
And then put like to include the,
for the purposes of living use of the property on the south side of Forest Ridge Road, limiting use of the property,
the portion.
for purpose of limiting the use of the property to non-intrusive recreational uses only on the portion south of Forest Ridge Road.
Well, no, because there's two of them.
There's two of them, so that becomes unclear, doesn't it?
Want to be more specific and say bordering parcel number 5 on such topographic map.
That would make it clear, right?
I think it would.
On the portion of south of Forest Ridge Road that borders map and lot 116,005,
Oh,
right?
yep, and 117,070. Yeah,
Map and lot, okay, we can do them all.
117,069, and there's one other.
116,005, 070, and 069.
And 116,004.
004.
Oh, okay, it
just
does,
a-
yeah.
it barely touches that, but you're right.
That way there we can save money not having to get a survey.
Well,
I
I think we
believe
still have to
for
do
the
that.
deed,
For the
Definitely.
deed restriction, we're gonna have to,
We will.
we'll have to identify what portion of the land has the deed restriction on it.
It'll still have to
I
be
think a real
surveyed.
estate attorney would probably recommend that we do that.
I would recommend we do
Yeah.
that. I'd like to, prior to town meeting, to have an estimate on the cost to survey, the cost to have the deed recorded, prepared, et cetera. A total cost, so we can let the taxpayers know what this is going to cost them in order to do this.
there will be a cost for an attorney,
Yep,
a cost
A
for a
surveyor.
survey,
Mhm.
and then
Recording
recording
fees.
fees.
correct.
Can you just read that one more time?
What the wording of the warrant
Yeah,
article?
just make sure I got everything.
To see if the town will vote to place a deed restriction on a portion of the Kank Recreation Area parcel located on Forest Ridge Road, map and lot 116,043. For the purpose of limiting the use of the property to non-intrusive recreational uses only on the portion south of Forest Ridge Road that borders map and lots 116,005, 116,004, 116,069, 116,070.
Wait a minute, one of them was a 117, wasn't it? 116,005.
Oh, is there a 117?
117,070.
Oh, I didn't, okay,
117,069 and 116,004.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have this map, I don't have,
Yeah,
I just
no,
have
that's
the,
fine.
Yeah, that's all I
That's
have
fine.
too, so,
I didn't,
okay.
I didn't know there were two separate tax maps, but
Okay,
thank you for
the
doing that, because
portions
otherwise
of
we'd be
the
back next week changing it.
Exactly.
Borders. Okay.
All right, and while we're talking about deeds and all that stuff, we have a letter from Denise Herodine to the town. I would like to officially unmerge my property on 25 School Street, Lincoln, map and lot number 113-102. Thank you, Denise Herodine. This has been a topic that we're all
Right.
aware of. We were kind of waiting for this letter. We've already discussed it. Is there any other?
No,
I
there's
mean,
no choice. I mean, we have to
There is
do
no
it, yeah.
choice. I don't even, this isn't something we even vote on, right?
No.
This is a
No,
notification.
She's
Yeah.
leaving,
She has the right to do
She has the
this.
right
We
to
don't
do
vote
so.
on it.
Right.
And we just need now to get this to
CMP.
the
CMP,
assessors,
Yes.
right? Yep,
because it'll go back to the original 2 lots.
2 lots.
Correct.
So they now have to make 2 tax deeds,
Yeah,
Yes,
tax cards. and
Yep.
yes, and they are aware.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
thank you.
So that was for informational purposes, but good for her. Glad that's done. We have a application for a notice a notice of intent to cut lumber. And this is cutting 4 acres of land out of 69.79 acres up on Back 40 Road. So this is in the landing. Application is by the owner. Is there any discussion on it? I mean, it's just really a notification.
Yeah,
that you
essentially,
get
you're
the
just a conduit for the
Do you
state.
need a motion to accept it or anything, or do we just sign it?
I don't know if we've motioned on these before,
I
but
have no idea.
I don't think you need to. I think, like I
Okay.
said, I think you are,
Just need to sign it.
essentially, this is the
Notification.
notification that they will be cutting, and then once the cutting is complete, they will issue a report
Yeah.
of what they cut, and then they'll be issued a timber tax based on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Does the state, take a look at that prior?
The state will review the
Report.
intent to cut and the report cut. And then the state also sets the values quarterly based on the price of lumber at that time.
all right. And then we have one other kind of housekeeping thing. We have a letter addressed to Tammy, OJ, and Jack. Good afternoon. We would like to set up a payment plan to pay our property taxes. We did not expect this, so had no money saved. We cannot come up with it right now, and another year we will plan on it. Thank you very much. Appreciate your thoughts from Patrick and Delma Gagne of LeBrec Street. And they have a exemption that has applied to their property taxes that has brought their total amount due down to 0 for
Years.
couple,
Yeah,
several
they
Years,
also
years.
have
several
the
years.
veterans credit as well.
And
Right,
with
right.
the increase in valuation, the exemptions have stayed the same. So now after years of 0, they do have a tax bill. First one in years, and they're just not ready to pay it all at
Yeah,
once.
I saw
I'll
that.
I'll make a motion that we give the town clerk authority to
Tax collector, the authority,
tax collector, the authority to set up a payment plan
and
with
waive,
no interest.
Yeah.
Sure.
I did do the math too, and if both warrant articles at town meeting pass, the veterans and the elderly exemption, they'll go back to 0.
oh, good.
And my question with that, this made me think of that. Does that, if we're gonna vote for this in March?
Yes.
Will that apply to this tax year, or do we have to wait?
No, it will apply in 2022.
Okay, so.
So this
the
was
amount-
That's a 2021
Yeah.
bill.
So that'll still be
So
owed,
that will still be
but their
outstanding.
next one,
But
okay.
their spring bill this May or June will reflect it, but
Okay,
Do you want to put a date on that? Like, do you want it, as long as their taxes are paid prior to July 1 to December 31st? I don't know how to, not forever,
No, it would have to be paid before the next tax.
before the
issue.
tax issue, yeah,
And
that's
they
what I was
will.
thinking.
They will.
Okay,
July
You wanna
1,
put July 1, June 1st, whatever.
July 1 is usually when
when the tax bills
bills are due
come
next
out.
time, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
let's do July 1.
I would encourage you to just reach out if you could and
Oh, I
let them
am.
know if there's an issue with that, to let us know. We'll work with them.
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
Yeah,
all those in favor?
Aye. thank
Good.
you.
Takes care of that.
I need to sign that.
All right, town managers report.
Okay, so last week, Nate and I sat down with Sam Kenny from Weston Sampson, and he did confirm that unfortunately, the spring project list has been closed and we will not be on the spring project list. So to essentially, I don't even want to say expedite the process, because I know you guys feel like it's not being expedited, but to figure out what the issues are and what exactly we need to give to the Forest Service to move this project along. We have identified a couple questions that need to be answered. Sam has reached out to Deborah Dodd, I believe her name is, at the Forest Service. She's meeting with the district manager, ranger, whatever their official title is, on this coming Thursday, and hopefully we should have an answers by next week for you in regards to whether or not we can do a temporary construction easement or we need to do a permanent easement. Temporary construction obviously would just be for to get us on the site and to start building the road and the storage tank. And then to follow would be a permanent one once the path has been identified.
Mhm.
Or are they going to want us to have a permanent easement going into this project? Sam says either way, it's not that big of a deal. If we have to have a permanent easement going into it, what's going to happen is the easement will just be wider. Rather than it be 15 feet or 20 feet, we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a buffer, have it be 50 feet so we can have a little bit of room in between that easement to make sure we stay within it. So we need that question answered, because obviously we're going to have an attorney draft that and go through the motions. The second two questions is that we will be required to do a NEPA, environmental review of the parcel. So he was wondering, obviously this would be, on the town's dime and the town's risk of doing so. If we could do the survey of the property simultaneously with the NEPA study. So when we get the official word in the fall that we are on the list, there should be no other hurdles that we have to jump through. And if we have a window to start construction, or if we have a small window this fall before the ground freezes, we could start immediately. So we're kind of waiting on those answers until Thursday.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Why does that fall upon us and not to the development firm that had the obligation to build it? As far as the study goes. I mean, it's a study because we're changing.
Forest land.
It's on the Forest Service land, you got it.
Yeah, it's on the Forest Service land.
So if the developer was gonna make his own storage tanks, most likely he was gonna do it on his own land, which
okay.
wouldn't require the NEPA study, but
Right.
because it's on Forest Service land, we have
Okay.
to do what the Forest Service
All right.
tells us to do
I
essentially.
gotcha. Thank you.
Anything else on that, or it's unfortunate, but we
Yeah.
wanna continue moving.
And again, I know we don't have to make a decision now, but I would certainly want to do both of them in parallel.
We're hoping,
If,
right,
if the Forest Service allows that. There's somewhat of a risk in doing that.
sure,
You're spending money here and either one could stop. But there's a bigger risk in my mind of just doing one all the way to completion, and then doing the other one all the way to completion. By the time you get done, a developer has lost patience with us and our
Right.
grant has expired.
Absolutely,
That's a
right.
much, much bigger loss in my mind, so.
right. And he did say that the NEPA study, there's there's different categories, different tiers of how elaborate,
In-depth,
how
yeah.
in-depth and elaborate
Yeah.
the plan is. He said this is the lowest tier, so this should be a relatively not, I don't want to say simple, but in
Sure.
comparison to what you have had to do in the past, whether it's a 6 to 9 month study and all that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
He said this is a relatively easy, not as time consuming tier.
let's hope it stays that way. I believe
know,
that's how
I
the
know.
Loon Dam project started out,
Started, yeah.
you
Right.
know, and then
It
animals and
Yes.
things and I wasn't gonna say.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
Um, Hopefully we'll have more answers after Thursday.
Medicinal properties,
So.
that one.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Chenard Junkyard. At the last meeting, we discussed meeting in April and going out to do a site visit.
Yeah.
So that is all set in motion. Attorney Dennis has reached out to Mr. Chenard's attorney and that ball is moving. I did ask about the $50 a day penalty because we did discuss that. And he says that the RSA states that it's after notice is given. So he recommends that we give notice identifying the date of the site visit, that it's no later than April 30th or whatever the board, deems appropriate. And that after X number of days, whether it's 90 days or 60 days or whatnot, the clock will start for the $50 a day penalty.
So we need to,
So I think we need, if the board wants to move forward with that.
We should set a
in that
date
direct-
right
We
now.
should set a date right now, exactly.
And-
We should say the inspection needs to be done by April 15th or April 30th, whatever you feel is appropriate. And then we feel that, the board feels 60 days after that or 90 days after that is an appropriate time frame. Then we'll put that date in as well.
I would suggest an April 15th date.
I think we could still have snow on the ground at that point.
that's a
Okay.
Friday.
Another board a couple of weeks, so the 30th.
April 15th is a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do it Monday or are we going to do it different? I'm not here the 25th, that whole week.
Okay, I'm not either. So if we're gonna set a date in April, I'd like it to be the 20th at the latest.
That's a Wednesday.
Right, and that
Is-
way
would
if
there
it
be-
rains or snows or whatever, we could go 2 more days.
What days are the planning boards, the 1st and 3rd?
Yeah,
So that would be a
that's not a
planning
planning
board.
board night.
No, okay,
No, the 13th and the 27th, the planning board that month.
Gotcha.
So the 20th could be a
so
date.
no later than April 20th.
Okay. Is
And
the
if,
inspection.
and if it,
If
If
this
the
rains or
ground-
snows.
we can make a
covered.
determination
We
at
can
that
change it.
time, we'll give him, grant him a, whatever, 2-week extension with no,
Right.
I mean, we'll be reasonable,
Yeah,
hoping that he will.
And then 90 days, give him till July 20th. Clean the property.
In that court order, there's a time frame in the decision.
I don't believe so. Did we had an email from?
no, can you go make another copy of this?
You need another
Yeah,
copy?
please, yeah,
I didn't get it.
I know, that's what I said.
Oh, the heck, yeah, no, I know, yeah, just take my.
Okay, so-
Well, that's why I'm looking.
Oh, you better watch OJ. Just a
I was trying to do that quietly. Big mouth to my right,
I saw
big
you
mouth to my
okay.
left. No, I don't have it.
Okay.
The one time when I didn't take it, I did look. I did look. There you go, sir.
Thank you. Mr.
You have the court ruling?
No.
Oh, you want?
Do you have it?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Is there anything in there that says 90
Yeah, the
days?
last page.
Thank you, Ron.
Hey, think you have to go back to the original decision.
It is, this, yeah,
Then it said, what was it, August something or whatever. So you got to figure out the timetable.
So it was the date of the decision?
the decision was April 13th. And the demand was no later than August 10th.
So if we do April
That's
20th,
4
we
months.
can
So
give
it's
them to
100
August 20th.
It's
That's
120
plenty of-
days.
Right,
That makes
Yeah.
sense to me. We're
Yeah.
going a week later on the date. We'll go a week later on the order date. We'll go
Yeah.
a week later on the deadline. So August 17th or 20th.
oh, 20th,
20,
20 to
August
20.
August 20th, okay.
That way
Let's
you're
see.
consistent.
We're
with your-
It's a
consistent with
Saturday.
this.
Okay.
We're enforcing the
So you keep
same
that one.
timeline.
And
I
August
have some
20th is a
on
s-
my computer. I
Yeah.
just never fired up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ron.
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yeah,
Okay.
but that's fine,
That's fine.
whatever,
Yeah.
yep.
If it's there on Saturday,
And then we should have
Who
a,
started on Saturday?
should we notice that the following Monday, the 22nd, that will be again inspecting the property?
No, the deadline is the 20th, and I
Right.
think that's all we have to notify. Right?
Right, but at some point, we're gonna have to inspect the property again.
Right, but if we can't inspect it for 8 days, that doesn't give them 8 more days to do it. The deadline is August 20th.
Right, but also notice that we will be inspecting the property that week, the 22nd through the 22nd in August, immediately after or something. I mean, the 20th is a deadline. We're not gonna go the 21st, first thing in the morning and make sure. It'll be sometime that week, I'm assuming. Unless you wanna go and inspect it on Sunday.
Sure.
yeah, we could just make some sort of generic statement
Yeah.
that says,
Yeah.
following the August 20th deadline,
Yeah.
the BOS will ensure that the nuisance is removed or
Yes.
abated or
Yes,
something.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, get that. Highway block grant. I did look into highway block grant and the RSA specifically states that the funds can be used for construction, reconstruction and maintenance of the town's class 4 and 5 roadways. It can also go to equipment to maintain those roadways. So essentially, I do believe that some of the West Street expenditures would qualify. I talked to Nate about if he had any projects on the horizon, and he said the only thing is that he has to keep roughly 20,000 in that account, as he may need supplemental for the vehicle purchase he plans on this year. He's gonna have to do it in kind of a 2-part purchase, because he's gonna have to buy the cab and chassis and then the body and the sand and plower in 2 separate kind of purchases, just the way it's manufactured and
Yeah.
timeline. So he asked if we could keep a buffer of roughly $20,000 in that account, which would give us, currently, there's about 70 in there.
So we can use 50 of it.
We can use
towards West
50
Street. Perfect.
towards.
I think with the situation that we're in with West Street, that would be a perfect use of this
Mhm.
money.
Agreed.
We do have a comfortable amount of money in our road and streets capital reserve, so there's nothing that this highway block grant was earmarked for. And I'd rather take it out of the highway block grant money than a capital reserve.
Right.
That has projects.
That has projects related to it, and we might still have to do that.
Sure.
But the first pile of money should come out of that highway block grant. Sure, and again, leaving 20,000 in there, that's a reasonable request. There's $50,000 towards that project.
Sure.
So,
And we'll receive more as the year goes on. So there's about 70 in there now. We got the first installment for 2022 in January, but we'll get 3 more installments in each quarter, which equate to 7 or 8 apiece. So it will grow. By next year, we should have,
Sure.
30,
Yeah.
35 in there rather
Yeah.
than the 20.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay. So right now, I'll earmark 50 out of the highway block grant for West Street.
Perfect.
Okay. Contingency fund, I also looked into the RSA regarding contingency funds, and they are lapsing appropriations, so they don't go from year to year. So if we were to establish one, we would have to either use it or lose it by the end of the year, essentially.
And I expressed my opinion on this earlier, that I could go either way on that. I like the way we're doing it now. If the budget committee wants us to change it, I don't object to it. But what it would mean is that we'd have to raise it.
Mhm.
And again, it's too late for this year, the budget's
Sure.
already been heard. But if we did it next year, we raise that money. And then in the following years, assuming we, on years where we didn't spend any of the contingency money, it could just come out of undesignated fund balance. Because we're, it's money we put in instead of taking. it
Yeah, and
back.
it's going back,
It's-
right.
It's a wash.
Yep.
On years that we did use it, we'd have to appropriate,
What we
I guess we
used.
still could do it out of undesignated, but it's
Right,
going to affect the tax rate no matter which way you do it.
You got it.
Because it's
Yep.
not the same amount that's still.
Right,
sitting
it's all,
there.
it's kind of dependent on what happens
Yeah.
within each year.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
So maybe something to look into next year, during budget season, if that's what we want to do. But like you said, for now, there's nothing we can do for 22 anyway, so we can get 23 decision. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no worries. And then the last thing I have is next Monday is President's Day, so the office will be closed, so we will not be having a meeting. Unless-
Good, I won't be here anyway.
Okay,
If we did have a meeting, I would be zooming in, so.
That works for me.
okay.
The transfer station, everything's closed. All
Good.
town offices.
That's good.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Oh, yeah.
I will also be zooming in on the 28th. Yep. I'll be back for the 7th and town meeting, obviously.
Yeah, that worked out good.
I just noticed you guys were here.
Oh.
I'm on top of it tonight, aren't I?
I do have one more thing, but I think it's for non-public.
Okay, I have two things, but they're both non-public. One is a personnel issue and one is, we need to talk about the email we got today from.
That's what I was gonna.
From the
Yes.
attorney. But I didn't, I had a list of questions and you've covered everything that was on, so. we're good. I'm good.
Nice.
You have anything?
No, just what you said about
Those-
the attorneys.
Those two?
Yeah, you covered what I had, except for one thing. Last week, I forgot to wish Mrs. Thompson a happy 100th
Oh,
birthday.
goodness.
Her birthday was February 2nd. She is Lincoln's oldest resident. And she had, I saw pictures on Facebook. She had a wonderful birthday surrounded by her children, her family. So yeah, just want to say, we did send her a card. But I wanted to say publicly, happy birthday. She's 100, holy cow.
Holy cow, that's
Good
right.
for her. Good for her, yeah. And that's all I have.
All right, public participation. Anything from the public? All right,
That's it.
One thing I will say before we go,
Yeah.
I'll make these changes to the warrant article for the deed restriction tomorrow morning.
Mhm.
But after that, the warrant needs to be posted by Friday, or technically Monday, but Monday's a holiday, so let's just get it up on Friday. So I'll shoot you all an email, just let you know it's ready, and then you come in to sign it.
oh, okay.
I'll have Squish again tomorrow, but she can come in with me. now.
Yeah. The budget committee, I think I got seven signatures on the budget, so I think I can post that,
Oh,
but I'll do it at the same time.
Good, good, good.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, I will make a motion that we go to non-public to discuss one personnel issue and one litigation issue.
I'll second. Oh,
All those in favor?
aye.